Alright, what's going on, folks? Well, we're back again today. We're going to do a little something different again. Of course, we have cool weather here in Texas, and fishing is not that great, and can't really get out and on the water. But anyways, we're going to do a little bit of a kill it and grill it type of thing. We're going to make some jerky. We're going to do it really easy for you guys that deer hunt and stuff like that. This is just an easy way to get you some preserved meat going and something to snack on in the deer blind and the bass boat.
I'm a whiskey drinking SOB. If you don't like that, then you won't like me. I'm an outlaw. I said I'm an outlaw.
Alright, so we got our meat all ready to go. Got us a good knife, got us a good cutting board, and basically we're just going to cut everything up into strips. We've got us just basically some flank meat here. Alright, so we're going to cut up our stuff. On this particular stuff, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it up into small chunks. Myself, I like my jerky small, just so I don't have to struggle so much to chew it, eat it, all that good stuff. So, just cutting this up in nice little strips. And then from there, I'm just putting everything in a nice little Tupperware bowl, something that's sealable because you're going to marinate this overnight. And you want to be able to seal it up and put your marinade in it. Alright, so we're down to our last piece of meat here. And so what we're basically going to do is we're going to marinate this in soy sauce and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And we're going to marinate it overnight. And in order to do our drying curing process, we're going to use a food dehydrator. So we got all our meat in the bowl here, and what I'll do is in the description I'll write all the process and everything down, and I'll also go in there and put an Amazon link to a food dehydrator so y'all can find one of those. Alright, so we got our Worcestershire sauce. I don't have a whole lot of it, so I'm going to use what I do have. And all you want to do is basically cover your meat so that way it can marinate and do its thing overnight. And that's taking forever. I should have probably taken the top off of it. Okay. And then we'll put our soy sauce. Like I said, you just want to barely cover the meat to a nice, pretty much consistently level. And I'm going to go ahead and move all this stuff around a little bit. All in there nice and clean. Make sure it's all submerged. And once we got it in there like that, we're not going to put any kind of spices, any kind of salt, anything like that. Your Worcestershire and your soy sauce will take care of the salt process of it. And we're going to seal this up, put it in the refrigerator, minimal of 24 hours. The longer you let it sit, the more flavor it'll have. You can use all kinds of different stuff in here rather than soy sauce or Worcestershire. This is just what I particularly chose to do for this batch. But yeah, you're going to seal it up and put it in the refrigerator, leave it marinate in the refrigerator, minimal of 24 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and when we're done with that, I'll get back to y'all and we'll start seasoning this up and getting it set up in the dehydrator. So our next step is going to be giving this one good shake since you've had it sitting. I've actually let this sit for 48 hours versus what I was saying before, the 24. And you're going to take your strips out, lay them out on a piece of paper towel. Pretty much just like this. And we're going to do some stuff here once we get this laid out to kind of keep from making a mess all over Melissa's cabinet. But you're basically going to take this meat, lay it out in strips. Once you got your meats laid out, you're going to use some seasoned pepper. I prefer the chunky stuff. You can also use just regular old black pepper, pure ground black pepper, whichever you want to use. But like I said, I prefer the chunky stuff. And you're just going to give it a nice little liberal coating, you know, to your desire of what you kind of, how much spiciness and pepperish you want on it. I try not to get too carried away, just because, you know, it tends to get in the teeth, tends to get all over the place. Pepper doesn't tend to taste good by itself. Just flip everything back over to the other side. This side's going to be a little bit drier than the other because we've had it land on the paper towels for a bit. And pepper it up. And you'll end up with some nice peppered goodness, kind of like that. So from here, we're going to take our tray from our dehydrator and just kind of put this stuff on your tray. You want to lay it out as flat as possible. Try not to get any twist or anything in it like that, because then it'll dry up with the twist in it. I mean, if you want it to have twist, I guess you can. I mean, it really doesn't matter. This is just my preference here. But can I get all of this on here? I think I can. Put that piece right there. This piece to go right there. And this piece to go right there. So there's our meat laid out on our dehydrator tray. And your dehydrator comes with probably about 7 or 8 trays like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and get the rest of this meat laid out on here, get it all peppered, get it set up in the trays, and then we'll move over from there to actually put it on the dehydrator. So here's our element for our dehydrator. It's just basically a little heating element. You plug it into the wall, and this is our very bottom tray. Should go on like this, and it's got like an air slot in the bottom of it so it can get some air in it. And here's my trays all stacked up. Take your trays, put your trays on like that. Basically I made 1, 2, 3, 4. I made 4.5 trays, almost 5 trays of meat. Your top, I don't know if y'all can see this in the video, but your top has holes in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and crank open all the holes for right now. And then your top just sits on like that. Plug this into the wall, and you have jerky in business. And there we are, hydrator all set up, jerky getting ready to start being made. Oh, and just a word of advice, if you're gonna run through and do quite a bit of this, you definitely want to get rid of this stuff. This is our soy sauce marinade. You want to get rid of it, man. Pour it down the sink, throw it in the trash can, do something with it, but you don't want to save it because it's got the blood and stuff from the meat in it, and you know, it'll go bad instantly. So, you know, don't want nobody getting sick trying to reuse it again a month or 2 down the line. So get rid of this stuff and move on with your process. It's been a really long time since I've done this, so I don't remember the whole time process on it, but I want to say it's roughly about 5 days from start to finish once it's in the hydrator. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to take and move your bottom tray to the top tomorrow, seeing as how I just started it now, and then the next day move that bottom tray to the top, etc., etc., etc. What this does is this prevents it from basically cooking the meat, and it actually dries the meat out. If you left it stacked like that, then of course the bottom tray is going to get dried a whole bunch, and the top tray is going to get dried very little. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot for 5 days, and at the end of 5 days we'll take it out and have a look at it and see what we got and move on from there. Alright, so we're about 2 days in on our dehydration, and I'm thinking we look pretty good here. Yeah. I was expecting it to take about 5 days to work, but it didn't. I checked on it yesterday and it was pretty close. I may have put them in a little bit too long because, like I said, I checked on them yesterday and they were pretty close to being ready, but Melissa thought I needed to leave them for another day, so here they are. All right, so I've got this brown bag. Just, you know, go to your dollar store, your grocery store, or whatever. Just pick up the cheapest brown bags you can get. That's what I like to put my jerky in. The paper helps to absorb the moisture and keep the moisture out of it, but allows it to still be able to breathe, where a Ziploc bag wouldn't allow any of that. And that's what I use for putting my jerky in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all this stuff pulled out of here. Like I said, nice and jerky-rific. And like I said, you don't have to make your pieces this small. This is just something that I chose to do from my own personal preferences. Makes good snack for fishing in the mornings in a kayak, or sitting deer blind, or hell, just being at work, sitting at your desk, got something to snack on. But anyways, so give me a few seconds to get all this stuff out of here and we'll talk some more. All right, so like I said, that's pretty much, I think that was 2 days, two full days. I put them on in the evening. I ate a piece yesterday afternoon and it tasted like it was okay, but Melissa said to let it sit for longer. So I pulled it out today, and the bottom stuff is a little bit drier than the top stuff. I didn't flip anything around. Remember in the earlier part of the video I talked about taking one of the lower trays, moving it to the top, you know, alternating it. I really didn't ever get around to doing that. So like I said, my bottom ones are they're a little bit drier, but they're still edible, still good. So definitely nothing wrong with there. As I said before, I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm going to find a link to the dehydrator, put an Amazon link in the description, and I'll write up what my whole process was in there as well, so that way you can follow along on that if you need a written visual versus in the camera thing. But basically just thanks for watching, guys. I hope some of y'all try this and you know, experiment around. I'm going to make some more in the future with a bear marinade, maybe something with a little bit of a sweeter marinade, stuff like that. This is good for pretty much just about anything: beef, elk, deer, axes, blah, 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 you know, all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, thanks for watching, guys. Check out that video right there if you haven't seen that one. And there's another one there, and you got the bass over here for a subscription. Appreciate it, guys. Catch y'all later.